Under the category called Be Careful What You Wish For Because You Might Get It, Democrats who came to power in part because of their calls to end the war in Iraq now find themselves facing their own supporters who insist the lawmakers are not moving quickly or firmly enough to accomplish that mission. Correspondent Molly Henneberg has that story.
He calls himself Reverend Billy and says he's leading the Don't Buy Bush's War gospel choir. Today, these anti-war protesters, mainly from a group called Code Pink, marched through the halls of Congress, urging lawmakers to vote against a Democrat-sponsored spending bill that may get to the House floor tomorrow. It includes nearly $100 billion for operations in Iraq and Afghanistan and demands the troops come home by August 2008. But these protesters want no more money for the wars, and they want the troops home now. A message they took into Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office, although she wasn't there.
She better listen to us because she's making the biggest mistake of her life. She knows better than this. The only thing Congress can do is vote no on the funding.
The anti-war left may see it as payback time, political analysts say, after helping the Democrats win the majority in Congress.
Their view is, look, the American people voted for Democrats because they wanted this war stopped, so let's stop it. It has a certain logic to it. But obviously the House Democratic leadership is afraid of appearing to not support the troops.
To be sure, members of the Bush administration, today it was Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, faced criticism from anti-war protesters. But more and more, they're aiming their slings and arrows at the Democratic majority. Listen to former Democratic Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney at a weekend rally in Washington.
By funding his wars, the Democratic Congress is explicitly complicit. Complicit in war crimes, complicit in torture.
And as the pressure builds on Democrats to cut off war funding, apparently so does the frustration. Case in point, Democratic Representative Dave Obey earlier this month.
You can't end the war if you go against the supplemental. It's time these idiot liberals understand that.
Today, more pleas from moderate Democrats not to let the anti-war left sink the supplemental.
At the end of the day, we need 218 votes to pass a resolution that will provide accountability. That's what this is, and most Democrats will make the compromise necessary to get it passed.
But that may be easier said than done. There are 233 Democrats in Congress. And as Representative Israel just said, they need 218 votes to pass the supplemental. And now we're hearing there's some talk that Democrats may not introduce the measure tomorrow because they just aren't sure they have enough votes. Britt?
Molly, thank you. We have to take a break here to give our sponsors a moment and update the other headlines. When we come back, we'll tell you about some bare-knuckle politics happening in the House this week.